believe we are live. Let me just check on Facebook.
You click the live button.
Yeah, it's showing that I am live. Do you see at the top of this? Okay, I'm the one that can see at the top of the
Oh, yeah,
screen.
we're live. Yes, I can see that too. We're good to go. Awesome. So let's go.
All right. It's another day, my brother Gustav. Happy Thursday and welcome to another episode.
Hey, Dr. Divo, how are you, man? Good to see you. Happy Thursday, my man. How you doing?
I am doing well. It appears I'm echoing. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well. Can you hear me? Yes, I can see that too.
All right. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you very well.
All right. Let's get this going again. Happy Thursday, my man. How you doing?
Hey, you know what? I feel blessed today. It's an awesome day to be alive. As I always say, I cannot even afford to complain because nobody cares, especially an adult, a male, a father, a husband. You got to handle your shit, man. Nobody has time for your tears.
Absolutely. You couldn't have said it any better, man. You know, I'm so excited today because you know what? We just keep making progress every day.
Absolutely.
We started this discussion here. We're just streaming live on Facebook. We went to Zoom and we're streaming through Zoom. Today we're streaming on three different streams. That's Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. That shows that we are working in the line of technology. So I'm very, very excited. And I couldn't have done this with any other person but you, man. So
Absolutely. That's the beauty of technology nowadays, man. Technology has the capacity to expand our reach. And most importantly, technology has the ability today to really just break down geographical barriers. I tell everybody, I say, I don't care what you do with your life. I don't care the industry you're in. I don't care the kind of work you do. You must remember that it is your time to build a brand. And building a brand just requires putting yourself out there. Think about it, bro. Instagram alone has about 2.4 billion active users. YouTube has another 3 billion. Facebook has another 3 billion. So, at every time in the history of humanity, what we are doing right now, we have the potential to reach a cumulative 7 billion people. Bro, what other time in the history of humanity has it been easier to put your message out there? The good thing
I'm
is we are
telling
putting
you,
out messages.
it's in, it's incredible times, man, and I am so excited. Today, um, I'm here with my friend and brother Gustav B. Achu. He is a speaker, an investor, a legacy architect. After experiencing bankruptcy, foreclosure, career pivot, and also a major financial setback, Ghost rebuild from scratch. His life through disciplined investing, ownership strategy, and purpose driven world building. Today, he helps ambitious professionals, especially first and second class generation immigrants, move from surviving on income to building multi-generational wealth. His work focuses on purpose, oversight, and legacy, teaching families not just how to make money, but how to multiply, protect, and perpetuate it. There isn't a better person to talk this discussion about wealth, legacy, and building a generational wealth for your family than my friend Gustav B. Achu. How are you doing today, brother?
Hey, Dr. Edibo, I didn't know you took some time to sit back and craft a whole introduction for your boy, man. Now
You know,
you make me feel like you just introduced me into a hall full of 10,000 people waiting to listen to me to deliver them from the
I'm
hands of
telling you, I'm
financial
telling
poverty.
as I rightly said when we get started, we are just getting better, man. We're just
Yes,
getting better. Within the
absolutely.
next, see, let me tell you this, and we will come back to this video one day and watch it. I strongly
Absolutely.
believe within the next 3 to 5 years, we'll have close to 1 million or 2 million followers, and
Yes,
this will be a game changer. I believe in life is
absolutely.
all about consistency and
That's it.
speaking in your life what you want to be. Okay,
Yes.
gone are those days that we just sit back and we are mediocre, or we believe that it's just family and friends that have to support us. No.
No.
The other day I wrote on my Facebook, if you're building a brand based on family and friends, you're already 99% a failure.
No, 99.99%.
Yeah,
You know
a
why?
vast majority of our friends and family, they don't even tune in to watch us. A vast
Absolutely.
majority of our friends and family, they don't even know the kind of businesses or the products and services that we offer.
Absolutely. But we have one person who always tunes in to watch us, and we have to give her a shout out today. She actually just jumped in, Agi Elangwe. Agi is
Oh,
always very, very active.
oh yeah.
And I, and I, and I really,
When I talk about friends and family, you have those
yes,
special ones.
yes, yes,
So Dr. Adia Langwe, she is special. And this
yes,
lady, she is focus driven. She knows
yes,
what she wants. So she I'm so happy she's online listening
yes,
to us. But
always,
today let's jump
always.
into it, okay? We're gonna be talking a lot of stuff today. We're gonna be talking about the identity gap. We're going to be
Yes.
talking about the 401k myth. There are a lot of people out there that says 401k, why are you putting money in 401k? Just spend the money, go build a house in Cameroon, invest
Mhm.
in insurance policies. Some people will talk about who get into AI and the skills that are making sense. Every day we hear layoffs. A lot of things are changing. You saw what happened in the market today. The market was crazy. The volatility is crazy. So if you're not an investor, you can just go crazy. But
Yeah.
and another thing that we're gonna be talking today, it's just about your legacy. What legacy means to you.
Yes.
So for us to jump into our discussion, and again, some of these things just make it quick, sweet, so that if there are follow-up questions, I can go with those follow-up questions. So
Absolutely.
we're gonna be talking. The first aspect today will be with respect to identity gap. Right?
Yeah.
You often talk about identity gap and the space between being a high-earning professional or maybe a business person and actually building wealth. Why do so many hardworking immigrants and first generation professionals do everything right and still feel
Mhm.
financially behind?
Yes, I think that's a very good one, Dr. Dimo. I'm really glad that you're starting from that angle because one of the things which is very important to understand is even before building wealth, right, there needs to also be a period of building an identity. An identity here is a recognition and a humble acknowledgement of how far you have come. What are some of the cultural engineering that has worked on your mind? What are some of the behavioral patterns that come from the culture and upbringing you have, which is against the growth of the potential wealth you want to build? So, one of the things I realized, especially in my own life, right? Filing for bankruptcy, almost financial ruin, foreclosing on multiple homes, I realized that the challenge wasn't really the ability to work hard. The challenge was actually being able to identify some of those things that we've been educated on, that has been thrown upon our subconscious over the years, and that has wired the way we think about this process. For example, the first thing is that for most immigrants coming into America, they were trained to survive, not to own. They were trained to just work, make some money, take care of their lives, do whatever needs to do, whatever they need to do, and don't worry too much about owning things for the long haul. Another important thing that you would notice, I'm sure by now, that many people would have noticed if you've been working for like 10, 15 years, is that high income is never equal to wealth. That's why we have a lot of Henrys. And I'm not, I'm not trying to denigrate the name Henry or nothing, right? We have a lot of Henrys today. And you know what Henry stands for? High earner, not yet rich. Right? We have a lot of Henrys today because a lot of people confuse earning high and wealth. Earning high is certainly not a stimulant, but an accelerator to wealth. But in itself, it is not wealth because there is a one-stop shop, which is you, the earner. If you stop earning, then the real income cannot come in. So you cannot consider that as being rich and comfortable yet. The only time that becomes wealth is when you've converted out into assets that are working without you necessarily implicating your physical or your emotional body in it. A third thing I observed, many immigrants are actually first-generation earners and not first-generation investors. I want us to understand this differentiation in this mindset because these are the mental, emotional, and intellectual gaps that keep us from crossing that final line into becoming not only investors but building wealth in the long term. A lot of us immigrants are trained and raised to earn, and we generally stop at the earning point. That is why you hear a lot of people who come to you and they'll talk to you about, hey, you know what? I've been thinking, how do I multiply my money? How do I invest? And these different things. But they never really have the patience and the commitment to follow through. When you tell them what it would take, somehow they just get moving with different things in life. Because a lot of times, their subconscious mind is tricking them to believe that because they're earning $10,000 a month, $15,000 a month, they really know that at some point they might not be able to earn that much because maybe they'll retire, they get old or something, but they really don't give that thing serious thought. The fourth thing,
just before I don't want to lose my train of thought, right?
Sure.
Since we're talking about immigrants, right? And
yes.
One of the things that especially first, second generation immigrants, or most of the things that they do with respect to investments is either buying a property here or building a property back home, right?
Correct.
Some of them, they have lucrative jobs making $100,000, $200,000 a year, but they are not informed, especially like with 401ks at your job. Maybe they can open their own brokerage accounts, or maybe they can invest in real estate here as well before even going to invest at the same time, depending on how much liquidity you have. So tell our viewers, right, how these people in this bracket that have the liquid cash, that have the cash flow coming in from their paychecks or maybe owning a business, how can they navigate this from a layman perspective?
Absolutely. The reality of the matter is, if you want to swim, you must get into the waters. All right. And by no means am I saying here that everybody has to become experts or has to have a high knowledge about, investments and financial planning and all of that. But it's important to have a basic concept of, number one, why it is important, and number two, how it works. Because when you're talking here about investing, especially for people who are making high six figures, $250,000, maybe 100,000, 150, generally it takes a few years of work to get to that earning capacity, right? And so when you get to that earning capacity, it is important to understand the different levers that influences the decision on what to invest in. The first lever is your age. How old are you and how much longer you want to actively be working? Number two, what is your number? What is your retirement number? And I'm not talking here about the retirement age. I'm talking here about the financial the financial assets that you want to accumulate, and those assets will be able to generate revenue which will replace your income. Because anytime your assets can passively generate revenue that replaces your income, you are fit to retire at that point if you like to, because you no longer need to actively work to earn the same kind of money. So you must consider that. You must also consider your risk tolerance. How much risk are you willing to take? And when you're considering the risk you're willing to take, you must relativize that with the amount of time you have. So there are some different moving parts to this. It's not as simplistic as ABC. But from a very simplistic perspective, I truly believe that for most people, especially if you're living in this part of the world, in America, number one, the American stock market is the number one wealth-building machine in the world. For everyday people, for unsophisticated investors, for people who don't have to even be entrepreneurs or own your own business. So to me, the way I coach my clients and the way I talk to people within my community, I always advocate to start from where you are, which is here if you're living here as an immigrant. Because a lot of people don't realize something. A lot of people don't realize that the machine called the US stock market has the capacity to multiply your money, and you can get money against that money that has been multiplied without selling those assets. And then you can take that money and go invest in whatever asset you want to invest back in Cameroon, Ghana, Senegal, Syria, Schengen, wherever you come from, right? Now, what that does is automatically it reduces your risk. Because the challenge a lot of people face is a lot of people come, they work very hard, 5, 7, 10 years. They struggle to save $100,000. They take that money, go build an apartment in Bamenda, in Yaoundé, in Douala, in Cameroon, in Senegal, in Congo, wherever they come from. And that money and the return on that investment, of course, as you know, with real estate, the return on investment takes a long time. And a lot of those projects, people don't sit down to do the math. So what happens is that they go invest 100, 200, 300,000. And by the time they get to really do the math, it's going to take another 30, 35, 40 years for them to even break even, not to talk of making a profit. Worst of all, if they start registering some losses, maybe the building starts dilapidating because they live far away from where it is. What happens next is that they start feeling depressed. They start feeling frustrated because they have invested their hard-earned money. And when you invest money that you work physically for, it always feels like you invested your life, because you actually gave time. You actually gave your life to make that money. It is different from somebody who invested that money in a vehicle that is multiplying the money, and they take some out against a very small amount of interest and go invest it. Even if that investment is not working yet, they can afford to wait 30 years, because in those 30 years, their main capital in the stock market is still generating growth. So in a way, they are not really losing anything. Their risk is low, so their pressure is low. They don't need no blood pressure medication. They don't need to have blood pressure machine.
Wow, my brother. So let me ask you this. Especially from the society that we come from, okay? Most people they take pride with respect to, especially if they're among their friends, saying, "Oh, I own 6 apartments in Limbe, I own 10 apartments in Boya." Again, that's some kind of a pride that, okay, me living in the United States over this time period, this is what I have done, okay? Again, that is not a bad thing. It's a very good thing. What do you have to say to those people, especially balancing real estate in Africa and at the same time building something here?
You know what, Dr. Dimo? It is very important to understand something, right? It is very important to understand something here. And listen, guys, all successful and rich people, and I say this with a lot of certainty, 99% of the successful and rich have real estate in their portfolio. Do I make sense? But it doesn't mean 99% of the successful and rich build wealth with real estate. I need people to understand the difference. Real estate, generally, for most people, especially when you're starting off, right? Real estate tends to have certain barriers to entry. Number one, it requires a lot of capitalization. Number two, the growth in real estate is most of the times not as fast as the growth in assets like stocks, right? The third thing, real estate for most of the rich people is not really used as a wealth building mechanism. It is used as a strategic tax minimization asset, and it is also used as a strategic asset to protect their wealth. So if you're starting off in that wealth building journey, it will make more sense to balance your investment more towards assets like assets on the stock market. The stock market delivers 10% growth averagely a year. Very, very few real estate assets can ever deliver 10% growth a year averagely. Real estate is about 2 to 3%.
Great.
The power of real estate
Hold
is
that
really,
point.
yes.
Hold that point. Great. That is one of the points. Can you just add with respect to return on investments? Because folks don't look into that, especially most folks that go and build. Return
Uh-huh.
on investment and the power of compound interest. Can you add how that plays with respect to what you're just saying?
No, the numbers don't lie, right? Numbers are one of those things that don't lie is numbers, right? The return on investment, it is clear. Pound for pound, return on investment on the stock market will always outdo return growth of an real estate asset. But real estate has certain advantages, like you can use that to depreciate. You can use depreciation as a tax strategy, right? But it is important. Now, if somebody is going to build something which maybe they just want maybe a legacy project that will last for 100 years, they don't really care to make money, that is fine. You can do that. But if you really want to make money out of it and you want to compare the investment, right? In fact, I had a client 2 weeks ago with a similar situation. This person has a project planned for Limbe and Boya for about $1.1 million. This person already has $500,000 available to go start the project. So I asked the person, I said, why did you come to talk to me? He said he just wanted to make sure that he gets different points of view and to be clear about whether his strategy makes sense. I said, how long do you want to do this project for? He said, it's going to take him 5 to 7 years. I said, how much money do you plan to invest? He said, 1.1 million. I said, how much do you have available right now? He said he has 500,000 to start off. I said, how important is that project to you? What is your goal? Are you planning to make some profits out of it? Is it something to just make sure your name never disappears? What is it about? He said it's an investment. He plans to make returns on investment. I said, have you done the math? He said he did the math. It wasn't too bad. I said, okay, let me ask you a simple question. If I show you a way by which you can invest the $500,000 in the US and be able to progressively have capital available to you to go do that project in Limbe and Boya over the next 7 years, and therefore you are also going to be having growth on the market and doing the project, would that be something of interest? And he was blown away because he didn't understand that there are options like that, right? But it is important to understand something, Dr. Dimo. A lot of people don't really sit down to do the math. Where I am right now, and what I caution a lot of people who are investing, starting to invest or moving forward with investment, you have to learn how to let the numbers speak. A lot of people are very emotional about investment. And anytime you're investing emotionally, you are going to lose. For example, the market is red today and has been red the last 1 month. If you are an emotional investor, you will do the things emotional investors do. Sell your positions at a loss, hurriedly go and be selling different things without even understanding why you bought them in the first place. But if you bought those assets with a clear strategy, a clear reason, a clear purpose, what happens is during times like this, even though it might feel a little stomach churning and frustrating, but you will not act based on how you feel because the
Correct.
numbers will be telling you that you are making a wrong decision.
Oh yeah. Just today, right? I was just looking at some stocks. Just today, you remember during COVID, there was a stock called Teledoc. Teledoc was one of the most popular stocks during COVID because a lot of medical professionals they were using. That's where telemedicine started and really
Correct.
went viral. So Teledoc 5 years ago went up to like $278 per share.
Yes.
Today I was looking at Teledoc. Teledoc is $4. Teledoc has lost 95% of its value. And
Tons
that is
of them
one of
like
the
that.
reasons it's like AI. Nobody knows tomorrow. All these
Correct.
NVIDIAs and flying names,
Yeah.
there are no guarantees that they'll continuously fly. Okay.
Absolutely.
Depending on your risk tolerance in the market, somebody might decide to say, I just want to be with Costco. Costco will be
Yes.
there whether what COVID came, Costco will be there, Walmart will be there, you know. But those are value created stocks that don't grow like the growth related companies.
Correct.
Or rather than you taking individual risk, you can take combined risk investing in ETFs. Just that we pivot a little bit, right?
Correct.
Many professionals believe that contributing in 401ks and getting their employer match is enough to build wealth. You challenge that idea most of the time. What are the missing parts with respect to this?
You know, I like the fact that you bring that up, Dr. Edimo, because a lot of people need to understand that a 401k is a vehicle, it's not a strategy. The person who even created the whole concept of the 401k, because 401k is actually a provision in the tax code, right? But the person who actually coined this whole idea and brought it together, a few years ago, the person confessed that it is not really what it was marketed to be. That it really is not going to save a lot of people at retirement if they are not careful. And the reason why is very simple, right? 401k has a lot of good things about it. In fact, everybody listening to me and anybody who listens to this video, do this if you don't have a 401k or you're not part of your job's 401k as a full-time staff. Call your HR tomorrow and tell them you want to find out if the company has a 401k program. And if they do, how much is the match? And you contribute to the amount of that match. A match, for those who don't understand, is simple. A 401k benefit is a benefit a company gives to its employees to help make their company attractive so employees can stay longer employed with them. So the company will say, listen, I will match the first 5% of all the amount of money you invest in your 401k, right? So if you invest 5% of your salary, let's say you're earning $100,000. You invest 5,000, which is 5%. At the end of the year, the company is going to match another 5,000 to that and invest. So that is the most guaranteed investment you can ever do because you have a guaranteed return on your investment because the company is matching. So that is a 100% return on your investment, no question asked. So it's important that at least you invest the minimum, which is the maximum match. If the maximum match is 6%, invest 6% so that the company can match it. Now, the rest should move. The first layer should be to your Roth IRA. And the reason why is, of course, Roth IRA has tax advantages and all of that. But I don't want to go into all of those details. Let's stay on 401k here. The reason why, Dr. Edimo, I challenged the 401k is because number two, even though you get that profit, that match in the front end, the second thing is that most 401k portfolios grow about 8 to 10%. Fine and good. But the other very important thing to realize is that 401ks actually have a significant amount of fees, averaging 1% to 1.5%. Let me give you a very simple example, Dr. Edimo. If you invest $500 into QQQM, QQQM is a NASDAQ 100 ETF that is focused around the top 100 companies on the stock market that are technology companies, right? If you invest $500 a month, at the 30th year, you'll be sitting on about $3.2 million. The cost of maintenance of that ETF is about 0.15%. I want everybody to listen to me carefully. right? Let's take the average growth for the last 10 years of QQQM. It's been about 17 to 18%, right? So basically, if you do that same investment on QQQM and you take out 1% in fees, do you know that at the end of 30 years, you are about $700,000 less? An average 401k, just because of the 1% fee, at the end of the 30, by the time you hit 30 years of investing, you are down about $220,000 to $250,000 in fees. That's a lot of money. But a lot of people don't understand this. A lot of people don't know that there are fees involved in managing these accounts. That is one of the reasons I really believe that 401k actually is a little bit of it's a challenge. The third reason, lack of flexibility. When I say lack of flexibility, I mean the 401k structure is designed to invest only in mutual funds. And these mutual funds have those high maintenance fees, right? Because the people managing the mutual funds have no skin in the game. If the fund works or it doesn't work, they don't lose money. They still get paid. They still earn their bonuses, right? So most people don't know that the game is actually ownership, tax strategy, and equity. That is where the wealth game is, guys. That is where the wealth game is. Owning something, implementing some tax strategies on that stuff to pay the minimum amount of tax, and having equity in that stuff. That is why 401k for me is such a challenge, right? An average American retirement savings gap is massive when you're doing only 401k. I just gave you the demonstration of the fees. So that places a significant amount of stress on people's retirements. Most people don't know this because most people are not exposed to this information. That's why we spend time talking to you about these things, because you could pick up one piece of information that can change your life forever.
Yeah. And another thing that I usually tell people, especially some of my clients, if most of them that are full-time employees, that they don't have a clue if their company provide a 401k. Again, it's always going to be a win-win if your company provides a match.
Correct.
That is a win-win, whether with the fees or that.
No doubt, of course, it's a 100% return on your money.
So somebody that's making $100,000 that the company matches 5%. If you put in that 5%, that's $10,000. So they'll put in 5, you put in 5. So you're making 100% return on your investments before even compound interest kicks in. So I usually guide people towards, at a minimum, meeting
The
up
match.
with the. If you can meet up with the match, that is incredible. Again, with the 401k as of 2026, you have about 25,000 that you can contribute into that.
Correct.
So you can meet up the match on what your company is providing, then open another 401k for yourself, and you make sure that you maximize that 25,000 in 2026. And there is also, again, as you rightly said, the Roth side of it, which is tax-free. I tell people, at the minimum, whether your company is providing your 401k or not, open yourself an IRA, a Roth. 7,500, that money,
Max it out.
whatever, max it up every year. At the minimum, you don't need to make the $25,000 for a 401k if your company doesn't match that. But at the minimum, if you're making $157,000 or less, you're eligible to have a Roth IRA, and that grows tax-free. There are very minimal things that you see, buckets that you see. My friend that loves the word bucket. There are very minimal things that you see that will be tax-free. So that is one. So I usually tell my clients, look into making sure you max out your Roth IRA, because that's your tax-free bucket at retirement. Great. Let's talk a little bit about AI. And again, I would like to thank all the folks that are here. We have close to 10 people here today. They've been standing in here. Thank you all. Leave questions, right? On the comment section, leave questions if you have any question. that you want us to answer or you want my friend Gustav to answer, leave it here. We will be more than happy to answer those questions. Guys, we don't get paid for this. This is just our purpose. This is our passion. We love doing this. So if it's important to you or you find some value, it might be so important to another person. All we can ask of you is to like and share this content so that more people can benefit from this. So let's move on. Let's talk about AI. Just today, multiple companies came out with laying off people. Right now, with respect to earnings, it's earnings season, and most companies are reporting your earnings. The way the street is looking at those earnings and guidance, they are looking with respect to how AI is going to play with respect to those companies and with respect to those employees, right? One of them that just got reported today was Expedia. Expedia is that company that used to help with respect to logistics booking for vacation and stuff like that. Now there are very few AI bots. I mean, there are multiple AI bots that you can use that now without even getting into Expedia. That has given Expedia it's a threat. Expedia stock has fallen more than 20% in the past couple of days just because of this. What has AI got to do? How do you perceive AI, both from a professional perspective and also an impact in the stock market?
Awesome. You know, there is no conversation that should go on in this time and age without a significant consideration for the impact of AI. You need to understand every technological shift creates panic for employees and opportunity for owners. I want that to sink in. And I'll break that down as we get along. Stay with me on this one. AI is not going to replace you. A person using AI will replace you. I want you to understand me, guys. That is why it doesn't matter what career you're in, what you do for a living, you need to first of all understand that AI is an efficiency and productivity accelerator and multiplier. AI is like you are walking, right? And somebody comes with a bicycle to carry you. That means you can go a little faster. And then as you're going on that bicycle, somebody else comes with a bike, a motorbike to carry you. As you are going on that, somebody comes with a Ducati, carries you. As you are going on the Ducati, somebody comes with a Lamborghini and carries you. Are you seeing the progression here? AI is actually, in terms of productivity, is going to increase productivity by that much. And if you're sitting and listening to us this afternoon, I don't want you to panic. I don't want you to feel like you are behind. You are not behind. You can only be behind if by the end of this year, you are not starting to understand how AI can help you. And you start implementing that in the job you do. Now, I usually tell people this, right? There is a simple thing you can do, and everybody should do this. If you're sitting in front of a computer, just note this down, and after this show, you go try it out, right? You need to, first of all, understand that something like ChatGPT, Claude, these are just query applications, right? They're applications that use to aggregate data and help you, give you guides and things like that for research. So you have to understand that you can use AI for a few things. Number one, you can use AI for content creation. You can use AI for ideation. You can use AI for research. Now you can also use AI for business operations. Dr. Dimo talked about bots and agents, agentic AI. Those are technological advancements that can permit the AI now to do certain things. I'll give you a simple example so that way it makes sense to you and it will explain to each and every one of you what's the company you called again, the travel company, booking.com or something? Expedia. Why Expedia has to do something very fast. Last summer, we had a family vacation in Mexico, in Cancun. And as usual, when we're traveling, I do a complete plan for the family, right? You know what I did? I went to ChatGPT. I said, ChatGPT, we are going to Cancun, Mexico. I gave my daughter's age. I gave my age, my wife's age. I talked about the kind of things we like. the kind of fun we want to have. And I told ChatGPT to recommend other things that are aligned with our age, the things our daughters like, the colors, and things like that. Number one, recommend a resort that will fit all these things. And then I gave ChatGPT a budget of how much we want to spend. ChatGPT recommended the kind of resort. I then instructed ChatGPT to give me an hour-by-hour itinerary for our trip. ChatGPT in 3 seconds gave me an outline from the time we have to leave the house, what time we should leave, what time we should get to the airport, how to check in, and when we get there, the different activities to do, how much they cost. Then I gave ChatGPT another instruction. I said, you go out and search on the marketplace. Give me the two best airline prices for tickets, number one, and compare prices on the different things we want to do and the value that it adds, and bring me the best price for the outcome we want. ChatGPT went out and brought that information. And then it asked me, do you want me to go ahead and book these things for you? I said, yes, go ahead and contact this resort. Find out from this resort if they will pick us from the airport, if this, that, what are the reservations for the restaurants we want? Are those restaurants already booked for those dates, or we need to book them? All those things, so that I don't book that resort and those restaurants we want to eat at are not available. ChatGPT went out, got that information for me, sent out emails and things like that. This is what we are talking about nowadays, guys. This is what we are talking about. So as an individual, as a professional, the best way for you to embrace AI is just do something basic. It doesn't have to be on ChatGPT. You could use Claude. You could even use Google. I forget what Google's own is called
Gemini.
now. What's that?
Gemini.
Gemini, exactly, right? You go to them and just do a basic question. Say, ChatGPT, my name is this. I am this old. This is my professional career. This is what I do for a living. This is the number of experiences I experience, the number of years of experience I have, right? This is what my daily job looks like. Tell me, how can AI enhance my job and make me become more effective and become immune to layoff or termination from my career, and see the result it's going to give you. That is how everyday people can use AI now to AI-proof themselves from getting fired. Powerful. Whatever it is you want to do, if you're looking for ideas, you have to realize something like ChatGPT. I leverage ChatGPT as a conversation partner, but most importantly, as an expert. Even though I don't take everything in sales for gospel, you have to do additional research and customization. But it's important to understand that you can go to ChatGPT and give it some context. And when you give it some context, now it will give you results based on the deep context you've given it. For example, if you want to do the search as a professional right now, you will go to ChatGPT and say, okay, ChatGPT, I want you to act as a top-rate professional career advisor and HR specialist who is forward-thinking and usually positions people in careers for 10 years in advance. And then you give a context of what you do. And then you ask ChatGPT now to advise you on the things you need to start doing now, so that way your career will be enhanced and AI is not going to get you out of the job. So you have not only asked it to give you advice, but you have asked the AI to act as a professional of a certain caliber. I can say, AI, here is the profile of Dr. Harik Edimo. Look at the things he posts on Facebook. Look at the videos he does on YouTube. I want you to think like him and advise me on how best I could position myself for the best tax strategies or something. Guys, you need to understand the power of this stuff. Don't try to fight it. It's like water coming and you're trying to fight it. You're wasting your time. You're going to get swallowed. You have to align with AI. McKinsey is estimating, Dr. Edimo, that AI could add trillions to the global GDP. Productivity tools historically increased wealth for early adopters, period. When the internet was coming in the early 2000s, those who adopted the internet earlier were those who started creating websites, were those who started creating e-commerce platforms, and today they are billionaires and millionaires.
Absolutely. I'll tell
Don't
you,
sleep on
man,
AI.
there isn't a better way to put this. And this applies to every profession.
Absolutely.
Every profession. Yesterday, I read a post that the first time in 50 years, a plumber is making more money and has higher job security than somebody with a bachelor's degree. So things are changing, guys. Gone are those days that you say your kid have to go just to regular school, they can't go to technical school and stuff. Now, somebody that is a plumber, an electrician, those people, the amount of money that they will make over time, you that have multiple doctorate degree, you cannot even get close. So we have to start thinking. We have to start figuring out. There are a lot of changes coming in, and we have to brace ourselves with respect
Absolutely.
to accepting such change that is coming. Thank you very much. I hope some folks, the folks that are here, you gathered something from this. Each and every one of us, we have to be proactive rather than reactive. Because if we are reactive, we'll be the first people to go. So let's be
Absolutely.
proactive. All right, let's move on. You talk about legacy.
Yes,
Legacy,
sir.
I know legacy means a lot to you. And building generational wealth. My question here is, you call yourself a legacy architect.
That's what,
What
yeah.
does legacy mean to you beyond just leaving money behind?
Wow. That's a huge one. You know, when you're talking about legacy, it could actually, it's more than a book. A lot of people have written about legacy, but the whole concept of legacy to me are the things you stand for, are the ideals, the ideas, the lifestyle, and the practical and physical things that you do that impacts and that stays even longer than your physical body can stay. And when I'm talking about legacy, it's important for people to understand because we live in a time today when almost everything is tied to money. And yes, I know we talk about finance, that is important. I know we talk about investing, that is important because that is a significant piece of legacy. Of course, like you know, people usually say money is the root of all evil. I say no, money can never be the root of all evil, right? Because you hear people say, you know what, money cannot buy happiness. That's true for some people, but I don't know anything that poverty bought. Did poverty buy happiness any day, you know? Right? So money is important, but legacy is not all about money. Legacy, number one, to me, is how people think about you and how they would think about you when you're no longer there. I'll give you a very simple example, Dr. Edimo. I used to work for a top distribution company in Africa for 3 years, Nigeria, Congo, Gabon. Were distributing natural health products through the network marketing system. I was the director of marketing, and I used to travel all over these countries to do weekly seminars, educate people on these products, and educate the distributors and things like that. And one day I went to a town in northern Cameroon called Maroua. And in Maroua, I finished my seminar and I was so tired. I had to, because I had arrived that morning. So I was in the seminar and then I worked with individuals one-on-one. So I was beaten. It was like 7 p.m. I had to retire to the hotel. And they told me a gentleman wanted to see me. I said, I am tired. I need to go. They said, no, the man has been waiting for 4 hours after the seminar just to see me. He wants to talk to me. I said, okay, bring the guy in. Let me talk to him so I can go. As he came in, I said, yes, sir, welcome. I tried to be as courteous as I could. And I said, what is the challenge? How can I help you? And the guy said, well, he attended the seminar and he was very impressed with my presentation and everything. And he looked at me and he looked at my last name and it sounded like somebody he knows. I said, what do you mean? So he said in 1988, he was living in a small village about 45 minutes away from Marwa. And if you remember, in 1988, there was an agric show in Marwa. So he said there was a night his wife was actually pregnant and there was no way to transport his wife to the city hospital. So he came out to the road and a pickup truck was driving past him and he waved and the truck stopped a few feet ahead, reversed, came back to him, saw his condition, asked the owner, asked two people who were sitting in the back seat to go to the carriage. And he asked the guy to come into that truck with his wife. And so he was telling me that in the course of their travel back to the city, about 45 minutes, they got to exchange, and he could remember that guy's name, and we share a common last name, and he wanted to know if I knew that person. That is the legacy I'm talking about. Wow. Nothing to do with money, right? And it is interesting to understand something here. What we live for in terms of our ideals, what we stand for, the things we do, how we make people feel, the things we leave behind for people to benefit from, that is a culmination of our legacy. You know something, Dr. Edimo? 40 years from today, people will be watching this video of you and me. They'll be learning from this video. They'll be implementing some of the strategies. Maybe some of the words you say, some of the words I say will uplift their spirit, will change their thoughts, will help them move from a place of darkness to a place of light, will help them regain hope again in humanity and in the fact that there are better days ahead, even if today is dark. That is legacy. So when we are thinking about legacy, let's understand that legacy is capital plus character plus continuity. Wow. That financial literacy is part of legacy. That teaching our children not only about money, but about having love for humanity, about doing something that will outlive them is legacy. That training our minds, our communities to understand that we can plant trees under whose shade we are never going to see should be a noble action, should be something we should aspire to do, because that is what makes it better for the next person. And what makes it better for the next person will most likely guarantee that the person who made it better for the next person is even best.
Wow.
Build systems that outlive you. Because you know what? Let me tell you this. Money without wisdom and a legacy disappears. But wisdom without money also struggles. So you must always realize, if you have the legacy mindset, what that does is that you see your life from the end and you start re-engineering it backwards.
Powerful. Woo! It appears sometimes you just preach, man. I just see it appears you're giving a sermon, you know. So sometimes I when I listen to you, right, and I just want to say something for our viewers. I learn every day from this guy, and he motivates me, you know. There was a point in my life that I always believed that I have to work for someone, you know, or I just have to be an employee forever, you know, where you make that $80, $90, $100 an hour, you've arrived, you know. You don't think of giving yourself a chance. It's like our sister Agi Elangwe, Dr. Agi Elangwe, she just started her coffee brand, right?
That's awesome.
This coffee is incredible from Banso. If you see how it's packaged, oh, Starbucks, it's behind. I am sincerely telling you this.
Yeah.
From the bean and stuff, I've been having that coffee for the past 2 weeks continuously, you know. But now it's about what's the next step. We have to I didn't like public speaking. I was never that kind of a person that would come out here. I want to talk and talk and talk and stuff. But I have realized in this day and time, especially if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to be able to sell. Marketing is the next communication, and marketing is the next oil and is the next gold.
That's right.
We all have to be able to stand out there and preach whatever product or services that we're having. She has an incredible product. Incredible.
That's
And
awesome.
if I'll tell you, and I told her this, based on how, because she just started, based on how she markets this thing, I would not be surprised to see it in Starbucks shelf someday. That would be a game changer. People start businesses in their garages, in their houses and stuff, but they never knew where it's going to take them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not only that job, 8 to 5, but at the same time, we're now transitioning into a time where just your 8 to 5 will not cut it. Or your one phone call or email from them telling you today is your last day or you have 2 weeks.
Correct.
So, in order for us to build that legacy, as rightly said, we have to start thinking of multiple ways. And again, all of this has to tie to our purpose. What is your purpose? And I believe, in addition to everything that you just said, legacy is about leaving things in people, not for people.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever, as you rightly said, we're saying in these platforms, keep preaching every day, that is part of our legacy. It's not the amount of money that we have in our bank account or that will grow over time. $3 million or $5 million given to you at 70, what are you going to do with it? Predominantly nothing. Yeah. At that time, you can't even drink Sha. You can't drink Go. You know?
At 70, we'll still be playing tennis, man. And we will not be as strong. That's right. It doesn't have as much value at then. It will just be to continue to build the legacy.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, Dr. Dimo, you said something very powerful. You talked about leaving things in people. You see, when I look at some of the greatest inventions in this world, some of the technological advancements, some of the concepts, some of the ideas that radically enhance humanity and moved us forward. One of the things I noticed, a lot of the people who invented these things, who invented these ideas, who went ahead and crafted some of these philosophies, like philosophers of back in the days, a lot of them were never monetarily rich.
No.
Because what drove them wasn't a desire to necessarily make money. It was, first of all, a desire to leave something in people.
Yep.
Guys, it doesn't matter what you are doing with your life. It is important to always think about legacy. I tell people legacy is so important because it encapsulates everything we aspire, everything we work for, everything we dream about our lives and the life after us.
Yep.
It brings all of that together. Your job is part of your legacy. There are people in their jobs who are on the wall of fame in their corporations. That is a great thing. I remember one time I went to my cousin's wedding in Florida, and he took me. We went to the university where he finished med school specialization. And in that university, his dad had went to that same university, and we're walking down the hallway, and he showed me a picture of his father on the wall of fame in that university. By no means his dad is a rich guy. He worked as a doctor for 40 years. He worked in America for a few years and decided to come back and work in Cameroon because to him it was more important to impact his people than make $1 million a year, right? But now you look at that picture on that wall of fame in a university in Florida. What are the odds that a gentleman born in Bambui would find his picture in one of the top medical schools in America and the world?
Very slim. Very slim.
So when you're thinking about legacy, always ask yourself, what can I do so that my last name will never be forgotten? So that when they're talking, they will talk about me for something positive, for something impactful, something transformational for humanity. If you haven't taken anything from this conversation today, take this one thing as your homework.
Wow. As we close, again, my brother, it's always a pleasure talking to you. But as we close, what are the stocks that or the ETFs that you're looking at getting into next week?
Next week, actually, this morning, I increased my position in VOO. I also increased my position in SMH. There's one additional one I increased my position in. It's called IBT. IBIT. That's a Bitcoin ETF. And for the stocks I'm looking at, I increased my position a little bit in SoFi. I did buy probably 2 or 3 shares of Meta. And I bought additional shares. I bought 1 share of Costco, and I bought 1 share of, 2 shares of United Health.
United Health. Great. And what do you have coming up at your side there? I know
Awesome.
you have a very powerful webinar coming up. So can you tell the viewers what's coming up?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's important to understand something, right? It's important to understand because all of these things we are talking about, it is very difficult to implement if you don't have a certain amount of clarity, guys. It all starts with being very clear about what it is that you want, where you're going, and how to get there. So it's a combination of clarity, a proven system, and a community of people who can continuously motivate you to be consistent and stay the course. That is the reason I will be hosting on the 26th of February a webinar called the Clarity, Wealth, and Legacy Blueprint webinar. In this webinar, our goal is to take everyday investors, if you're starting or even if you're already investing, to help give you, number one, clarity of your circumstance at the point where you are. Number two, provide you a step-by-step plan you can take and go implement and start investing and growing your wealth. Number three, give you a community in which you can continue to thrive and grow. Because if you're trying to go to a certain direction, you must go along with people who are heading in that direction. Now we have 2 ticket categories for that. We have the general admission ticket, which will give you access to a bunch of different documents and guides and implementation SOPs. We are also going to give you access to 30 days to watch the recording of this webinar free. In addition to that, you will be living with a step-by-step guide you can use to start implementing. That one is $97 investment only. Now we have the VIP ticket, and the VIP ticket are for people who don't want to worry about small money, but worry more about time and getting to that destination faster. The VIP ticket includes everything in the general admission. In addition to that, you have a guaranteed question and answer session with me after the 1 hour 30 minutes of the webinar. There'll be an additional 1 hour for VIP guests. You can ask me any question, even pertaining to your own private situation, and I will address it right there and then. In addition to that, you will have access to discounted rates on our future events coming up. In addition to that, I'm going to be sharing with you my proprietary strategic allocation plan of how I allocate my own resources to get the best outcome for my investments. And I'm going to be sharing that with you. You can use that and implement almost immediately. So if I were you sitting and listening to this, the entire value for this thing I'm proposing to you is about $3,750. I am offering it for $197 because, number one, there is the legacy piece of the work I do, which is to make sure that people have access to information and transformational materials that can take them to the destination where they want to. Because I believe that when you are doing well, we all are doing well. So if you would look down in the description of this video, you are going to see a link. You can also check my website. You can also check actually on my YouTube channel. You check this Facebook if you're watching, or Instagram. Dr. Edimo is going to put the link. Go ahead and secure your tickets. Dr. Edimo actually, because I respect what he does a lot and the fact that he is impactful to a lot of people, I actually gave an additional discount to him for his community members. So Dr. Edimo, you drop your link and your community members exclusively can get a 20% discount on the tickets. I think
Absolutely.
it's about 15 or 20% discount. And please, that is exclusive only to members of Dr. Edimo's community. Please don't take the link and share it to everybody. That is just exclusive to the people who have been coming to Dr. Edimo's platform, following his work, appreciating his work, encouraging his work, and taking advantage of his work to better their life. I hope to see each and every one of you at that webinar. And I want to make sure that you know that I'm planning to have not more than 30 people in that webinar. So it is very limited, the number of tickets. The sooner you get it, the better for you, because it is going to be live. And I don't want a house of hundreds of people. I want to make sure that the value is precise and is delivered in a way that you will leave with more value than you ever imagined you paid for. I'll see you on the inside.
I'll tell you, my friend Gustav, right? So some people might be looking or listening to us and they usually don't take action. Folks, you even the value that you put on this thing, 3,700.
I know.
Wait, I had a book here. I don't know if I wanted to show some folks. The seminar that we went to the other time with Search Life.
Yes,
One
Search
of
Life,
these
yes.
programs, they were offering it for $37,000.
Yes,
Same thing that you're gonna offer
correct.
for $37,000, guys. 37,000. I mean 37000, not francs, dollars.
And there was a waiting list.
Yes. And this guy is offering something for $190 and still giving 20% off. Folks, you guys should just run and capture this thing. Because I'll tell you, this will be the best $170 or $80 you're gonna spend. And if you're serious, within the next week, if you start investing, you've already got your return on investment
By far.
right there. Even if you just start with $1,000 investing, you can make that money within a couple hours in the market.
Yes.
Then just imagine 10, 20, 30 years from today, just from starting as a result of you going to such a webinar. So let's start putting our money where our mouth is. If we want to take advantage, especially learning from people that have been tested and proven. I see one of my sisters here in the UK, she asked the question, Gustav, how do you go about getting a Costco share? Somebody in the UK is asking, how can they buy a share of Costco? What's your response to that?
Awesome. I see that. Hey, Lovelyn, how are you? Awesome. Thank you for hopping on. The first thing is, of course, you access shares from the stock market through a brokerage account, through a brokerage platform. And the brokerage platform could be companies that you probably have heard about. In America, we have Fidelity, Schwab, Robinhood. I think in England, you have some different platforms you can use. I think M1 Finance. I think
Robinhood just started in England as well. Interactive Brokers.
Interactive Brokers, exactly. So those are platforms that you can actually leverage and you can be able to do that. But of course, you can always reach out after this call to Dr. Edimo or myself, and we can certainly get a chance to really guide you on how to do that, right? Because it's not just only about getting a Costco share, but it's about designing a strategy. You have to understand investing is like going into a game. When you're going into a sports, a football game, a basketball game, there's got to be a strategy. You don't just go and start playing, right? You got to figure out, what is my opponent like? What are they planning to do? How do I win this game? What are the things I need to do? How much endurance do I need? How much time do I need to practice? That's how you actually approach investing. So don't approach investing from the perspective of just, making a quick decision. That's why I will advise that you reach out to one of us after this. Let's take this conversation further. And anybody else who is listening, that is the way to go.
Absolutely. Well, it has been a pleasure. Again, here at Wallsmart Advisory Group, our prime objective here is to help working class Americans, even whether you live in Europe or wherever, to build wealth and leave that legacy. And also, if you're a business owner, we can be of incredible help to you. We work with respect to building wealth and also working on a tax strategy that you can use to constantly create and multiply. Because I'll tell you, if you don't have a strategy in life, right, you just continuously work. And I see people every day. I've been here 20 years. I've been here 30 years. I've been working all these jobs, good jobs, but I don't see where the money is going. Unfortunately, you don't have a strategy. It's like you getting into a car and you really don't know where you're going and you just keep driving. There's a high probability you won't get to a destination. Okay. So we need to start figuring out, following some of these people that have done it. And I'll tell you, don't listen to those nerds that come out there and tell you they have done stuff. If anybody is telling you they have done stuff, ask them to show you what they have done. If somebody cannot show you what they have done within the past, at the minimum 5 years, don't take any guidance from them. Don't, I'll bet you, or else you'll regret it, you know. And this is investing is an act, it's not a science. It's not as if you mix magnesium and chlorine, you have magnesium chloride. No, things change. We stay on top of the market. We stay on top of businesses. We stay on top of tax strategies to figure out how we can constantly multiply and create that avenue for us to grow. So to reach out to us, let's have that discussion. If you want to really get intentional, because this is not meant for everybody in any way, shape, or form. What we're doing, everybody cannot do it. So, but if you're intentional, reach out to us. Me, I have a calendar. I'll send you my calendar. I charge $2.99 an hour to begin with. And after that hour, I can tell you how I can be of value to you. Because after that hour, I will give you incredible value that if you take it and you try to implement it, you make incredible amount of money out of it. But at the same time, we always want folks to work with us because that's the best way they can get value out of what you're doing. Your hard-earned money, you shouldn't be putting $10, $15, $20,000 in investments and you really don't know what you're doing. We have a lot of people that are investing in even a 401k. You ask them, how much do you have in your 401k? They don't have a clue of what they have in there. So these are things that we work with you. We review even your 401k. We give you guidance on certain things that you can do better in order for you to continuously build wealth. That's where World Smart Advisory Group is. As always, brother.
Hey.
February. That your class is February 27th.
February 26th.
February 26th. So,
yeah, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 Central Time to 7:30. 6 p.m. to 7:30 Central Time, and the VIP session is from 7:30 to 8:30.
Yeah,
right?
And folks, this is not meant just for folks in the United States.
Correct.
I have folks that they are part of my community. They're in Belgium, they're in England, they're in Norway. They're investing in the stock market. And as I told you the other day, folks in Cameroon can invest in the US stock market. But a lot of them don't know. A lot of them don't know. The other day I was doing research, I realized that Interactive Brokers is in Cameroon.
That's
People
right.
can have access in the US stock market.
Yes.
$100, 10,000 francs a month, 50,000 francs a month can go a long way for you to build something. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to have $500 or $1,000 to start. Start with what you have and see the magic. I started a portfolio a couple years ago with $20, 20. And today I have multiple six figures in that account. So it's just, you have to be intentional about this thing.
Yes.
If you're intentional, give yourself 10, 15, 20 years, it's better to have $100,000 than to have zero. Because I'll tell you, 10 years from today, if you don't become intentional and make some of these changes, you might still end up with that $5,000 in savings or in a checking account that you adore, you know. Until next time, my brother.
Hey, Dr. Edibo, and if you don't mind, can I just say one quick thing before you call it a day? Right? Because I want everybody to really just pay attention to this, right? If there is one thing I want people to remember from this conversation, everybody, it is this: hard work is honorable, but ownership is transformational. Because many of us were taught to get degrees, to get stable jobs and save, but nobody truly taught us how to build assets, how to think in generations, or how to use leverage wisely. Wealth is never an accident, it's a structure. And legacy is not something you leave when you die, it's something you build while you are alive and bequeath. So, wherever you are today, whether you are just starting, rebuilding, focus on becoming an owner. Master your cash flow, invest consistently, and teach yourself and your children early. The future belongs to disciplined builders. And for any man, of course, who wants to go into deeper frameworks, like Dr. Edimo said, you know exactly how to reach us, where exactly to reach us, and exactly how to go forward with this. Because you must always remember this: the goal is not only to die rich, the goal is to build something that doesn't die when you do.
Yep. Wow.
I'm done.
The goal is to build something
That doesn't die.
doesn't die
The
when you
goal,
do.
the goal is not only to die rich, but to also build something that doesn't die when you die.
Wow. I think the sermon's closed for today, man.
Offering time, offering time.
I think it's closed for
Hey,
today,
Dr.
man.
Edimo, man.
Yeah, thank you
Always a
guys.
great joy, my brother.
Please, we really appreciate you all. Dr. Agia Langwe, Lovely, Jingo, well, let me see some of the folks here. Lacom, Ashu, Felix Azuni, Robert Miklar, Agborese, Axong, Yannick Bello, Camcosa, Cameroon Community of San Antonio. Thank you all. We appreciate you. Please do us a favor. If you found this interesting, all of you should just share this. Just by sharing, that is the best marketing we can do for ourselves and to get this to more people. Some of you have 1,000 followers, 500 followers, 2,000 followers. Just share this. It doesn't cost you anything. Just share and let it reach more people so that we can continue to provide such content. Until next time, thank you all very much. You have a great evening.